What's up guys, Nukin here and welcome back. Now, real quick disclaimer, I want to make sure everyone understands this. This is going to be a non-free-to-play prep guide, and because unless you were sitting on a stack of crystals that you've been hoarding as a free-to-play player, which is very unusual I might add, and anyone that can really sit on a stack of crystals should be able to do mostly anything that they want in the game, you're gonna actually have to invest some resources to get Jedi Revan the first time around. The question is, how much? So if you're interested in trying to see whether you can get yourself a Jedi Revan the first pass around, sit back and stay tuned because we're going to talk about how you can get this guy with minimal resources, because this is the panic farm of all panic farms in Galaxy of Heroes to date. Alright guys, so before we dive into a bunch of the details, I wanted to showcase to you guys where I am currently at on my Old Republic Panic Farm. So here we go, 5-star characters. I predicted it was going to be a heroic journey, so it's 7 stars across the board, all or nothing. So very quickly, I want to say that if you're not going to be able to get 7 stars on all these characters, then save yourself the resources, the time, the agony, the frustration, and just do not go for it. But if you're in a similar position as this, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, then there is still hope that you can get yourself a 7-star Darth Revan the first time around. This is coming from a guy that missed JTR, Jedi Training Ray, the first time around. It's not the end of the world if you miss out on a character the first time. Right now, I'm going for it. As you can see, I think that I can, but I'm not doing this free to play, guys. I have bought the packs so that I'm going to show you to you in the stores, and yeah, I dropped $75 and this is where I'm at right now. I wanted to just state that disclaimer, repeat it from the intro. I am not doing this free to play. I'm not sponsored by EA. I put my own money into it, and this is where I'm at right now. I think I'll be able to do it. It's going to be a tight squeeze, and so if I can do it with just sort of a bare minimum investment, then you can too, but it's up to you to decide whether or not you want to do it. So first off, my recommendation before you decide whether or not to spend any money is to quickly go to this website. I'm going to link it in the video description or pin it in the comments. It's going to be in one of those places, maybe both. It's called SwGoH.life/panic_KOTOR, and you type this in or just click the link in the video description or whatever. You're gonna be taken to a site that looks like this. Once you are here, you're going to want to enter all the data fields. So first off, you're gonna want to put when the event starts in relation to the current date for you. So the event is beginning on October 18th, so 18th subtracted by the current date for you. Whenever you're watching this video, make sure you put that in to the first data field, and then no brainer, kind of just fill in the other data fields for the other characters, what star level your character's at, how many shards are at the current star level, and then press the should you panic button. On the right side, you'll see how many shards are still needed to get all these characters up. So for myself here, I need 118 Bastila and Jolie Bindo shards. I need 176 Mission Val, 50 T3 shards, and 142 Zalbar shards. You should also see some more extra information like this. This is going to tell you when the event is technically probably going to end, how many shards you need to acquire per day, and it's going to go into specifics of each character. So for example, I need to acquire about 8 to 9 shards of the Jedi Scum, need to get 10 shards of Zalbar per day, need to get about 16 2 shards of T3 and Mission Vow, and you can see that it's recommending that I refresh the hard nodes twice per day, and it's recommending that I buy 1 shipment of Mission Vow and do Cantina refreshes 4 times. So that means 100 crystals, 100, 100, 100, 3 refreshes of 100, and potentially also a 200 crystal refresh, because that 4th refresh is actually double the 100. And if I do this every single day diligently, at the end, on the very last day, on the eve of the ending, or I'm not sure what the word is there, and I spend about 1195 crystals per day, I will be able to acquire a 7-star Darth Revan, most likely, or at least be able to attempt the event. Now, I quickly want to showcase my characters again, and I do say attempt the event because there are no guarantees. We don't know how difficult this Heroic Journey event is going to be. The last legendary event, the Chewbacca event, was more difficult than any other event in the history of legendary events. The JTR event was not terribly difficult whatsoever, didn't really require a lot of stuff, so it's really hard to predict the difficulty of the Jedi Knight Revan Heroic Journey event, but I wouldn't, be surprised if it was a toughie one, and you may want to put a Zeta, you may want to gear up some of these characters a little bit higher than you might expect to. So that's something else to think about when deciding whether or not to go for Jedi Knight Revan. So before we look at the packs, you do want to take a look at your stash of hoarded crystals. So whether you have just a few hundred crystals, or maybe you have a few thousand crystals, or maybe you even have tens of thousands of crystals, take a look at how many crystals you have. Also, take a look at your crystal income. So where are you getting in the arena? Are you placing in first place? Are you placing in 20th place, etc.? And figure out your daily income amount. Figure out how many crystals you have currently, and then you can start to use that panic farm calculator to find out the difference in your daily crystal expenditure to your acquisition rate, because that is what you're going to need to spend to make up the difference. So that's going to equate to you buying packs, which I'm about to show you, or potentially refreshing more times on the hard nodes, on the cantina, etc. So here are the packs. Now there are 4 different packs, 1 for crystals, 3 for not. We're going to cover the fetch and pack first because that's probably what you're going to want to start off with if you even touch it. It's a little bit more on the gambly side. I don't prefer it, but there are multiple routes, and to each their own. I went ahead and bought the first 3 packs, the T3 $15 pack and the 2 $30 packs, Heroes of Legend bundles. We're going to take a look at the contents inside and talk about value. Now, I will say that the fetch and pack is something that you're going to want to start off with the very first time if you even plan to touch it. So let's take a look at that. So for this fetch and pack for 699 crystals, you're going to acquire 1 of these characters, a minimum of 10 shards to a maximum of 330. Now keep in mind that most of the time you're going to be getting 10 shards, 12 shards, 15 shards. You most likely will not be acquiring the 25, 50, 150, 330 shard pulls. So just plan for 10. Now, even if you get 10, the bare minimum, it is still 10 crystals per shard, cheaper than buying the character in the shipments, but it is random. So if you need all 5 characters and you don't already have one of the characters 7 stars, this may be a good idea for you, but keep in mind that the shipments is still quite expensive. I mean, 80 crystals per shard and then going down to 70 crystals per shard. That is not really that much of a discount. Now granted, you could get 12, 15, etc., and that goes down to, you know, 60 crystals per shard and then 40 crystals per shard, and then you could get really lucky and get a 330 pull and really help and speed up your process. If you were to do this at all and you got super lucky and got a big pull, stop buying the faction pack immediately and just try to grind it out the safe way and hedge your bets. Don't go crazy with this, and I kind of just don't recommend doing it at all, to be honest. But if you're gonna do it at all, like I said, start off with this so you can know kind of where you're at before buying the more sort of conservative static value packs. Now the other 3 packs, the Heroes of Legend bundle packs, are going to give you 50 character shards of the particular characters that are listed on the pack. It's going to give you some gear and ability mats and credits. Now most of those items are not really worth it. The credits are nice, the omegas are nice, you get 6 omegas, but really you're after this pack for the shards. So this is still a good deal because you're getting 6 omegas, which are rated at around 200 crystals per omega, and then 100 shards, especially shards that you require to get Revan, which is probably going to be a very strong character. This is a good deal. These packs are straightforward. There's no gambling. You see what you see is what you get. So that's what you're going to end up getting. So I went ahead and got the packs here, and this is kind of what you get when you pull the pack. You get something like that. So I got them for all of the Old Republic characters personally myself. I avoided the Faction Crystal Gambling pack, but I did consider it. I almost did it actually, but I went ahead and just went for this sort of conservative route, and that was my decision making. Now, let me know down in the comments below if you're gonna go for this route or if you went for the faction pack route. I'd be interested to know. I had a friend who actually went for the faction pack route. He got lucky, got 150 pull on one of the harder characters to acquire, like Mission Vow or something, and you know, good for him, but I didn't want to risk my luck on that. So those were the packs, and my recommendation to you all is to go back to the Panic Farm calculator and tweak the settings on what you put in. So whether you bought the packs, go ahead and do that for sure. Whether you're contemplating about buying the packs, pretend like you did, change the numbers and see how that impacts how you can acquire Jedi Knight Revan, etc. So go ahead and do that. Now I'm going to go forward and talk about going and getting the last bit of shards. You're going to probably need to buy a few shipments. You can get the shards in the shipments, you can get shards in the weekly shipments here. I definitely recommend the weekly shipments because you can get a big nice lump sum of shards. I hate logging in every single time there's a refresh. I think a refresh is like every 6 hours or something like that. So that means by default, if you try to get more than 6 hours of sleep in a night, you're gonna miss one of the daily refreshes at least once per day. So yeah, so go for the weekly shipments and try to get those 8 hours of sleep per night. Something that I want to add to this guide, which is sort of kind of unrelated to everything I've been talking about, and I don't think has ever been mentioned before. I don't even know what to call this, like a term, what it would be, you know, hidden crystals, you know, unappreciated gems, but basically everything you do in this game actually nets you usually some crystals, whether it be just a couple to hundreds. And something that some people may not realize or have forgotten, but you can get crystals for completing territory battles depending on how many stars you get. It's been a year, guys. I kind of forgot as well. And if you can complete, right now we're doing Dark Side TB, if you can complete the maximum amount of Dark Side TB stars this time around, not only can you get the maximum amount of crystals, which is I believe 750, but you can also get this achievement right here, which nets you 300 crystals for the achievement as well. So there is a whole nother day of going first place in both squad and character arenas and doing your dailies, even more than that, just for doing and completing TBs, which is nice. Also, right after territory battles, if you're on the verge to getting an extra threshold in TW wins, whether it be, you know, 10, 20, 30 wins, whatever, you can get crystals when you cross over that threshold, about 100 or 200 crystals for that. So that's also some crystals you can factor into your calculation estimates. So I'm gonna wrap up this guide with a few final points, little nuggets of knowledge here, and I think I called it, yeah, a few final things. Well, it's getting late, so here we go. So wait until Revan's kit is here. Don't go crazy. Don't spend money. It's crazy to spend money on a character that you don't even know what the kit is, right? It's nuts. It's like, what's behind door number 1? Oh, I don't know. I guess it's good. Take my money. No, don't do that. Wait until the kit is here. The event starts October 18th, so by default, you're gonna know what the kit is before the event is live. So just kind of grind the characters like you're going to do it free to play. Maybe go a little bit extra than you normally would, but don't drop everything on a dime for a character that you don't even know what the kit is. So that's my first point right there. Now, factor in potential bonus or double drops. I have been pushing double drops so hard behind closed doors. It's almost becoming a problem. So it may still happen. I'm not sure. There's no official announcement, but I'm trying, guys. So, you know, maybe they'll give us something. We'll see. If not double drops, maybe bonus drops. If it's going to be any of these, potentially, don't expect 7 days worth, maybe 3 days. Who knows? Anyways, but just try and factor that in, you know? And if that happens, that's another reason not to go ham in the first place in the beginning. Another point, save your Omegas and Zetas, because we don't know how hard this event is going to be. You may actually need them. And then regardless of you using them or not, it's always nice to have a little nice stash. And I assume Revan is going to basically be a sink for these ability mats, because he's going to probably have 2 to 3 Zetas. He's going to have a lot of abilities that require Omegas. Omegas are on a crunch right now, so you might as well save them anyways. So that's another point. If you're not going to get Revan, this is specifically for the people that aren't going for him, just don't panic. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I missed JTR the first time around. I survived, guys. I survived. You will too. It's okay. I will make guides on how to beat this team. Even if I get this character, I will make guides for you guys, so you will be able to climb in arena. Don't worry. And if you're not going to get Revan, by the way, don't just neglect the old Republic, because he's coming back. He's going to come back in, you know, between 2 to 6 months, around then, and you don't want to panic farm all over again the second time around. That's almost traumatizing. So be close to finishing and wrapping up the old Republic before he comes back, so you don't have to panic farm at all. That's the best thing about being free to play. You don't have to panic farm at all if you make the right choices. And then the last point here is, if you're going for Revan and you've been going pretty hard already, you've dropped some money and you still are gonna fall a little bit short, it would almost be a disservice to fall so close and then miss it. So like for example, if you're short, like, you know, 50 shards, 20 shards on just one character, you got everyone else 7 stars, and you're like, well, I'm out of crystals. I tried. Don't do that. You're so close. You're so close. And if you really think about it, if you're spending money in this game, you're most likely going to spend money again in the future, and maybe just don't get that extra $9.99 marquee pack the next time around, or just don't get that $29.99 Houndstooth ship pack or whatever the next time around, and use that money towards finishing up the job that you started. That's kind of how I would think about it. And yeah, those are my few final points of wisdom. And I know this is going to be controversial for you guys, but trust me, it's going to be okay. the whales and the krakens support the game for us free-to-play players, and I don't even know if I should be calling myself free-to-play because I did drop $75, but you know, to each their own. Anyways, let me know down in the comments below what's up, how you're feeling, what the updates are you gonna get this guy, and I'll see you guys all in my next video. Cheers.
The Force will be with you, always.